allow me to call the June meeting of the Crewtown Council to order. Please stand for an invocation. Father in heaven, we ask you to be with our neighbors at Shiloh Baptist Church in their most recent tragedy. They're still suffering. Their members are still healing, and we wish you to give them your strength and be with them during this time of trouble. On the 75th anniversary of D-Day, we also wish to remember the crewmen that served during World War II and their families. Many of their widows are still alive, left only with memories, and we wish you to be with them in this time as well. We ask that you provide us with guidance and your spirit in all our decision making as we move forward in the interest of the people. Amen. Please join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first up is the delegations from the public. The fire chief was supposed to be here, and I see he is not here, so we will move on to anyone else that wishes to speak at this time. All right, seeing no one. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Mr. Pattis.
What about the Vietnam veterans? Are we doing anything, any type of memorial or anything for them?
We have a war memorial that is generic. It is dedicated to the veterans of all conflicts.
Okay.
Now, our VFW has a very robust Vietnam cadre. And if
Okay.
you are a Vietnam veteran or combat veteran from any conflict, I invite you to join Post 7819.
Okay.
They meet on the fourth Monday
Okay.
of the month right there at the Post Home. If you come in around 6, they have a meal and community time together before they go into the meetings. The meetings are fairly short, last about an hour.
Okay.
Now, we're also in the 50th anniversary years of Vietnam, and we have considered doing something. We did on December 7th, on the 50th or 75th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. We had an event at a local church and brought in our remaining World War II veterans. In fact, all but one have passed on since then,
Okay.
oddly enough. We thought about doing something similar, but also because we're approaching the 60th anniversary of the Korean War
Okay.
and 30th anniversary of the Ocean Storm, and we have a lot of veterans from this community, and so we're very proactive in that arena where we can be.
Okay.
But if you've got any ideas or wish to contribute, bring it on.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, with that in mind, any other delegations from the public? Seeing none, we move to consent calendar. Matters on the consent calendar considered routine will be approved by one motion. Any item can be removed from the calendar at the request of a member of council and may be voted on separately. We have in your package, you had the minutes of the town council meeting held on 13 May. You had the bill sheet, and you should have the additions before you. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Reed and a second by Councilperson Bowen. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by like sign. Motion carries. We now go to the town manager's report.
Thank you. I'm going to start out tonight talking, you remember that we had some concerns or have concerns about the water situation and providing water, not just for the state facilities, but for everybody, because that's really what we're talking about. What we're talking about doing at this point is apply for 2 grants. We submit these 2 to the Virginia Department of Health. They're funding assistance for planning and design of our system necessary to accommodate the increased demand. The first would be a design for the replacement of the 100-year-old water line, because we have determined that it really doesn't do any good to do any of the other improvements if the line itself cannot handle. It's not that the line is in bad shape, it's 100 years old. It can't handle the increased pressure that would be necessary to get the water to town. That would also, of course, replacing that line would also be moving that line off of railroad, pretty much railroad property right now, to 460. That eliminates a lot of the issues that we have in case we have breaks. We're limited to a whole lot of times to what kind of work we can do because of the railroad. It creates a problem, and it's also, to be honest, it's a danger to the railroad. This line is, a lot of times, very, very close to their main line. So that's the first grant. It would consist of construction drawings and construction cost estimates. They said that they could have that by the end of the year. This is Hurt and Profit, who's going to apply for the grants. These costs could be used by state representatives for next year's General Assembly budget appropriations, which we've discussed. Actually feel like they should pay for any improvements that are made. The second part of the planning grant, and each of these grants would be for $200,000 separately. That's the max, that's the cap. The second planning grant would be for upgrades to the water plant. That would allow production of more water without compromising quality, which was a concern. We could make more water and send more water, but the quality would diminish, and we refuse to do that. We're just not going to take that chance. Some of these improvements would be larger capacity discharge pumps from the plant dredging at Crystal Lake, because supply is the third level of this problem. A new intake tower, which would mean that we could control where the intake is, high or low, adjust it based on the water quality, the raw water quality. There are other necessary changes to provide more water. Improvement costs would be developed, again, so that the state and town representatives can review and plan for these upgrades. Hurt and Profit does not charge for the grant application, but the grants are capped, as I said, at $200,000 for the studies. That's just the studies. They estimate the proposed water line design, which was number one, would be around $235,000, which of course leaves us with the $35,000. But he's still working on the treatment plant design, and he said he'd get back with me on that. But obviously, the question is, are we willing to spend $35,000 at this point, plus to have these studies done? I've got to give them a yay or nay. The second part would be for you all to authorize me to sign those grant applications. So I don't know if we want to talk about that, if we want to wait.
Well, it's got to be funded, and I guess we need to get a sense of council. Do you want us? Do we want to try to get it from the state or from the state of Virginia, or just suck it up? I'm of the opinion we ought to at least reach out to the state and see if we can't work out some kind of deal.
I think we should reach out to the state, but if we don't get anywhere, that's something we need.
Okay, well, we can I can call the senator and the delegate tomorrow and just basically say we're kind of stuck here. So if you guys can work some magic and get that $35,000 waived, or somehow contribute it, then we can press on.
We're estimating right now between $4.5 and $5 million just for the line, the project itself. That's an estimate at this point. Basically mileage, everything that it takes to get permitting and going through all the hoops, and that's the estimate at this point.
Can we submit a request to the state to fund the whole thing?
We could.
Because it's gonna be furnishing their facilities.
Because if we didn't get that grant, that's what we'd be asking for. So
Yeah.
if we do that, then we get the grant, they'd almost surely fund the rest of it.
I can do that. I can take that for action if you want me to do that.
Yeah.
Wade, when do we meet? I had written down
Well,
June 19th, June something.
I had
Then
two,
in the
but
minutes, she put July.
I have
You
July.
have
I have July.
Okay, so July.
July,
Mhm.
oh, okay.
But, we talked about they were going to start operating talking about finishing the plan by the end of the year. So we're gonna be at that point, and they're gonna be operating, and we're gonna be providing them water. Now, that's not full 100% operation. They're gonna go in phases, as most of you know. I don't know when peak, I think it's 22, and there'll be a peak capacity.
Do we have any idea how much income the town will receive from the water usage?
We can estimate,
Yeah, I mean,
but we haven't really looked at that, because right now the concern is providing them with the
well,
water.
yeah.
And our rates are so low that you're not really making that much. We
See,
really,
See, that's
That's
another
another
thing,
piece,
it's
yeah.
kinda like your return on investment, if
Yeah.
you're not getting any return on it.
Now, I'm not gonna sit here and not be honest and say that this benefits the town, because if we can get these things done and they pay for it, great. We've got more water, we've got an upgraded plant, the line's new, that's all good. But the bottom line is, we wouldn't even be talking about this if it wasn't for them.
Yeah,
So I think personally that they need to pony up and take care of it.
yeah, it's not fair to our taxpayers to fund state requirements.
And see, what everybody's got to understand here is that it's not a question of what we want. If they said, no, we're not funding it, sorry, we're not doing that, then we're telling them that we cannot provide any more.
Well, we tell them we can provide X amount of water, and then
Right.
over and above that is
Yeah.
their own problem.
Could forego the grant if the state did this, is that what I'm hearing?
Well, the grant would be two separate grants for the study, just for the study, the planning grants is what they want. Then we find out what needs to be done.
So you would need the grant?
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So the 35,000 is part of the match requirement, or?
No, it would be the difference in the cap, which was 200, and what he's estimating their cost would be. That's Hurton Profit's cost to do the study, 235.
$250,000 to do a study of
Mhm.
a pipe?
It's a good career.
I'm in the wrong business.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
Well, another option,
I mean, does,
can we find
do,
an engineer that would do it for what the grant?
Try. I mean,
That's a third option.
we can certainly put that out there, but,
do they explain what's involved with that study? And does it come out to $250,000?
I can
We
ask
bid
that.
it out things with her, I mean, I'm sure we would put a, bid it out, but we've done that before. I would assume they're gonna be in the market ballpark.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a whole lot
Yeah,
of difference.
well, I still would recommend that we still maybe get other estimates, but I would
I-
imagine they'd be that different.
I can certainly go back to them and
It's-
say, council kind of question, you know,
Amount.
your charge, and can you break it down and show us why it would be so much? I mean, like I said, it's not, we need to apply for the grants and go ahead and get that in. I mean, that's somewhat time sensitive, but the issue itself, it's too late now anyway. We should have been talking about this 3 or 4 years ago, before they even, as soon as they said they were going to put that in, they should have come to us and said, we're planning to expand, and can y'all do okay? Because they know we've had problems in the past. And just to clarify, it's more, the prison is the big user. It's not Piedmont, it's not VCBR, it's the prison. And they're at 8 or 9 million gallons a month.
They're over
And
9.
they're 3 times what we use everywhere else.
Now, I went to Farmville the other day and I noticed their crops that they planted on the right-hand side, they had water spraying on those. Is that our water or?
No.
Okay.
No, they got wells.
Okay.
And to their credit, they are doing some system changes up there where they say now, I'm not sure how they're gonna do this, that they can separate potable and non-potable. So their fire protection, and this I really don't understand, toilets would be on non-potable, and sinks and that kind of thing would be, I don't know how you separate that in a particular individual cell, but I guess they can do it. So they're looking at ways, there's another reason they know that we're serious about this, because they're looking at ways to save water. They've also already, $1 million some, I don't know, Phil might know the number, authorized upgrade on the sewer plant, because they're expecting, you know, increase over there where they treat the sewer. So it's not like they don't know what's going to happen.
So
We were of the opinion that we shouldn't pay for anything.
Yeah.
I think we should maintain that opinion for the time being and make our case.
Bottom line,
Regardless of that, we still apply for the grant too.
well, 60% of our water goes to the state facilities, all right? And that's basically, our people are paying for any improvements and that would have to be done to, you know, take care of that. If we didn't have them, you know, you wouldn't have that water income, but at the same time, we wouldn't be worried about meeting, you know, maxing out on our capacity.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we already stated what our capacity
Yeah.
is, and if they want over and above that, then they're gonna have to pay.
All right, well, with, what I'm hearing here now.
One more question.
Yes.
So would Hurt and Profit continue to apply for the grant if there's no guarantee of the additional 35,000? Well, I mean, I guess they get paid for applying for the grant anyway.
I mean, if they do that, they're doing it on behalf of the town crew, so they're gonna bill us for the work that they do. And 200 of it, 400 total will come out of the grants if we get the grants. But we don't know that either, but chances are good that we will. But that's all it is a planning grant.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that I need to contact Delegate Wright and Senator Ruff and see if they can do something in Richmond to get us the funding that we need to make the grant for
Maybe
reality.
wait till the 12th.
Well,
No,
yeah.
election day.
Well, I can put it off today, but I don't think we're gonna have a problem.
Well, can we still move to authorize the town manager to apply for the grant?
I think you should, yes.
Okay,
So
so,
that would speed it up.
Right.
Yeah.
so,
But obviously, we would let everybody know what's going on.
Okay, Councilman Miskovic has made a motion to authorize the town manager to apply for the grant. We have a second. Ms. Stinson, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by like sign. Motion carries. All right, I'm also going to suggest the town manager call your point of contact with the prison and the BCBR, explain to them where we're at, and see if they can check with their superiors and come up with that $35,000.
Well, that's only one of it, now. I don't know what the other one's gonna
Okay,
be.
well,
Give me that.
tell them they need to come up with the money for the match, and we need to, one of them's gonna be at least 35, and the other one probably gonna be the same.
Okay.
I'll also write a letter to the school system, because I guess they're still using water for, they do it on the fields, they use treated water when they do their fertilizing out there, or water. And we need to encourage them to eliminate that and get some kind of a well that they can use for taking care of the fields. So those are 4 actions. Okay, good. Anything else?
Yeah. Not about that, but, we talked about camera systems, so the chief has done some research on some camera systems, and he's come up with one that is actually offered through Kennex Telecom. Kennex is our IT company that we're using now out of Farmville, so they're local. You've got a quote on the system. 2 cameras and the rest of the equipment were like $670. And what he proposed was 2 systems. One for the library, and the chief would like one uptown. He'd like one at the town hall to monitor people coming in the police station and also monitor the ladies up front. This particular system is y'all know more about it than I do probably, but 30-day roll. Wendy and I were talking about it today. It does have the date and time stamp where you can put in a date and a time, you go search, so you don't have to sit and watch the whole thing. And it rolls over. There is no additional cost for the service itself, which is all done over the internet. I just thought I'd bring that to y'all and let you know. I talked to the chief about it. Quality footage can be used for law enforcement to identify and charge any offenders that is admissible as evidence in court. So sometimes you hear the police were not there, so there's nothing they can do, but they can use video if they can identify what's going on and who it is.
We've used that several times. Our system is basically the same. We have a 7-day rollover, but we can print a picture out and gone to court with a photo before, multiple times. And also you can pull video from them, the more modern ones. And I say we definitely need it here. And I would go as far as to say we need 4 cameras, 1 on each corner of the building. Because it's all over Facebook, the issues here. Because of course Norma's door got knocked on again. And as far as the trail camera is a good idea, but a dog can set that off, a person walking can set that off, and it would blow up the police text messages. They wouldn't know it was serious. But if she said, okay, these people were at my house at 10:10 on June 6th, you pull up June 6th, time 10 p.m., and it goes right to that time. And there's no watching it for 5 or 6 hours. You go right to the time that they reported it.
And it seems to be most of it happening on this side of the building, or at the line, or at the playground
Playground.
itself.
Yeah,
Yeah. We've had very little activity since they cut off the internet.
I
Well,
still
you
see them.
you had somebody being behind the building the other day,
What day?
I don't know. It had to be this week, because that's when I saw it on Facebook. Somebody supposedly having relations at the
Porta potty.
porta potty. That one went into detail. Why they watched that long, I don't know, but, that was
reported
at the
it?
porta potty.
Who reported it?
Same person's been having a problem over here with them coming on the porch.
Did you call the police?
I don't know, I don't get into the Facebook conversations, I just,
And then it was also reported that some older kids shoved a younger kid in the porta john and shaking it or something, and they witnessed all of that.
We can remove the porta john.
Well, you're,
you could lock it at night,
well,
because they're not supposed to be in there after dark anyway.
They're gonna turn it over.
I'd say you post a sign that says property off limits after
We have it.
library
We have
closing,
it.
and then have it enforced. And,
I mean, are you expecting our officers to camp out there?
no,
Okay, because they
just
have,
ride by.
well, they do.
I have a problem. Again, I mean, Facebook is Facebook, but to tell you, I have a hard time imagining if I saw these things that these people are seeing, that I would not call and report.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to run out there and confront them, you don't have to
Yeah.
even give your name, just call.
Oh, I agree 100%.
Oh, I agree, but we do need.
But I like the idea of
something-
the cameras.
Yeah, we do need something, cameras or something.
And
Because eventually it's gonna be vandalizing the buildings, the library, and it's gonna go from knocking on doors to a little bit more vandalism.
because I went by here at 10 o'clock the other night, and there were like 5 kids sitting at the front door.
What,
And that was after hours.
why don't we put a lock on the porta john, tell the chief, hey, chief, somebody's gonna tear this up, catch them when they do it and press charges. I mean, whether he needs to employ a camera, whether he wants to, I mean, I'm not saying stake it out 24/7, but maybe in the wee hours for a couple of days, because you're right, somebody's gonna tear it off. If you catch them doing it, there's no other better way to, let the chief figure out the best way to do it. Let's catch somebody doing something over there and press charges on them and make an example out of
You
it.
gotta send a
How much are
message.
the cameras?
That's my,
The
Two
basic two camera package is $670, and I think the cameras
let
are,
you give the chief some discretion to figure
Well,
out how to catch them.
Well,
well, this is,
Not for that kind of system.
this is supposed to be, and I don't know, I'm just going by what I'm told, that this is supposed to be a better system. You know, more professional infrared cameras, so they see at night.
They work real well.
Yeah.
Did it?
I haven't.
Okay. At your house?
And with the cameras, what you're talking about would be perfect. Because you're gonna catch it. Somebody's gonna see, even if they have to go back the previous night, say somebody knocked it over last night. Now, I don't know what kind of quality you're gonna get, or you can be able to.
I don't think you'd have to wait very long. It wouldn't, I don't think, I mean, maybe I'm wrong,
But yeah, me personally, I would agree with Facebook's fine, but I'd already called 911.
Oh, I would have
Just
too.
to have, because that's a timeline, you know, because I can't remember who drove down my driveway last night. I know 2 cars did, but I couldn't tell you what time they drove down there. I mean, you know what I'm getting at?
And it's still being reported that the lights are out, it's pitch black.
Yeah, I don't understand that, because we just put new stuff in, unless they knock them back out.
Nothing for the camera pickup.
Yeah.
So how much do we need?
Well, if we get both, I would say we need more than 2 cameras.
Most definitely.
Here,
Yes.
not uptown.
Right. And it's
Yeah, 'cause I
1,200 for, I'm sorry, it
It's
was
670 with 2 cameras.
670 for the system too.
Yeah, that's
Because
everything.
we don't really have a problem right now with people coming into the police department.
Well,
We could always move them later.
I look at that, and Billy probably know more about this than I do. I don't see body cam on him, but it's just another level of body cam, you know, because it's gonna record people coming in, it's gonna record who's in there, it's gonna actually record, you can't hear conversations, but should they have a problem in there, it's gonna record it, and then, I don't know, I guess I feel like we've been lucky that somebody didn't try to hit us.
May I ask the town clerk a question? All right. I know you've had some irate folks come in periodically. Have any of them, have you ever felt threatened by any of them? I mean, did you ever at any time feel your physical safety was at risk?
Only once,
Okay.
and it was unfounded. He was just angry. He was very angry,
Okay.
and he has come to the office since then, apologized,
Mhm.
you know, and I've been there since 2006, so.
Okay.
Well, I will tell you what my recommendation is, and what I feel. I feel you've got PJ and the police department right next door. I'd say we put our money into the camera system here, and get the cameras that we need here, and use that first, then go, I mean, that's not just my opinion.
Can we move the
Fix
cameras?
here first, and then you can move them.
I would say you probably could.
So if we had a problem somewhere else, we could actually relocate them?
That's up to the man that installs them.
So,
You know, I would think that the base is gonna have to be in this building,
Yeah,
and then,
My guess.
you know,
okay.
it transmits via internet, so you can watch.
and
Okay.
then also, too, you would need to put domes around them, so that,
Shadow resistant.
yeah.
Well, I guess, let's see, include any of that.
Well, what we get, I guess the next question is, do we have, because I'm guessing if you're gonna get 4 cameras, you're probably gonna need $1,000 or better.
The 105 for the camera, well, the outdoor cameras are 185, indoor are 105, so I guess we'd be looking at outdoor cameras here.
Yeah.
You know, how you gonna sell them? Need overlap and field view on them.
Yeah,
I don't know the details of it, but this,
I would imagine he would know how to set them, cover what we want.
I guess the question is, do you want to authorize in around $1,200?
You know, as we've been talking about that, I keep thinking about that tragedy at the municipal building in Virginia Beach.
Mhm.
yeah.
For the little bit of extra money,
Mhm. Okay.
I would recommend we go ahead and do 4 here, whatever the cheapest.
So by 5.
Okay.
two up there.
Two,
Yeah, no.
two.
It would have to be 2 separate units.
So 6 altogether,
Yeah.
Right.
2 separate units.
I'm fine with it, but I just know we need more
So
here.
probably you're looking close to 15, 14, 15.
All right, so if we had a motion for the 1,500 to authorize it, that would probably cover it, you think?
I think it would.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to do it.
I'll second.
I mean, we need to quit getting beat up over this. We need to.
Well, and your citizens need to feel safe. I don't care who they are, where they are.
Also ask for proof. In other words, he's supposed to come up and go online and find me a system that's like the one that we're going to need. I want to see how it works before we
Yeah.
do it.
Okay.
He said that's fine, he would do that, so.
All right, so we have a motion by Mrs. Bowen, a second by Mr. Duffy to authorize $1,500 for the purchase of security cameras for the crew library and the town hall.
Where at the town hall?
One of them's gonna shoot the side door, and one of them's gonna go down there, where the people come in and wait.
The hallway, the entry.
The entry at the front door where they got the parking signs in the side of it.
Yes. Any further discussion? If there in mind, all in favor say aye. All opposed by like sign. Motion carries. Yes, sir.
We'll spend some more money. We've had a recent rash of problems with police cars, and they seem to be centered around the Dodges that we have. Last one was around $1,000 to fix. It's got 144,000 miles on it. One thought to do is hard fact, actually, we got 4 Dodges, but 2 in particular. Anyway, just for information purposes, what we're looking at doing, or what I may look into and propose to everyone, and I've tried this before and it didn't go very well, but I don't think each officer needs their own vehicle. And what I've talked to the chief about is, let's cut these cars back. Let's get pool cars, if you will, and let these officers alternate, set them up on a lease plan or a 5-year purchase plan, and then we'll have to get through some hoops at first, but every 5 years, we take the old one out and we put the new one in, and we just keep rolling. And he said he felt like we could do that. I just don't, I've often wondered why we had so many vehicles. The argument's always been that each officer needs their own vehicle because they take better care of them. Well, I can tell you right now, that doesn't necessarily happen.
Yeah.
So that is a management problem, and they need to be told to take care of the vehicles and leave it in good condition for the next one coming in. And if I were that next person, I'd chew their rear end out if I got in it and it was a mess. They can take care of themselves. The problem I have with that, you say, well, new vehicles, I understand. Phil was out the other night, his broke down. Suppose he's on a call. I always believe in Murphy's Law. He gets a call and he's broken down and it's an emergency and he can't go. I don't want to have to deal with that. You say, well, I'm sorry, car broke down, he couldn't go. So it's chances of that happening are probably slim, but I don't want it to happen. Just like radios. When Nottaway tries to reach somebody on the radio and they can't get them because the radio's bad, we need a new radio. You know, you can't take that chance. And also, if they're out there in danger, they can't reach anybody. So I'm gonna get more information on that, but I wanted to make you aware of it because the last thing I wanted to tell everybody was remind them that we have not passed the budget yet.
It's on the list.
Okay. Yeah, we need to go in and do that because we're running out of time. If we make changes, we're gonna have to re-advertise and rush it, you know, to get it in by July 1st. I personally have never gotten past July 1st without an approved budget, so I don't know what's gonna happen, but, you know, I prefer not to get that point, so that's all I have.
So how much is the leasing? Do we have a price tag?
I haven't got that far with it yet.
Okay.
I mean, I got some prices on the new ones. It's in the 35 to 40 range.
So what action do you need from council?
I just wanted to let you know.
Okay, so this is an
Get
informational
some numbers
piece,
together, and then,
then we move forward from here.
we got another one in the shop right now that's either can be fixed or will have to have a new motor. And if they say new motor, I think we're gonna say no.
Okay.
Are
Councilman,
they leased or do we own them?
We own one. And I
Councilman,
think we're paying on 2 of them right now,
Yes.
so.
when you were started out, did they use pool cars in those days? I mean, you had 1 or 2 cars and everybody just rotated out? I mean, it worked out fine, I take
That's
it?
your thought, Bill? From your experience?
Not really. It's, my experience runs back to the same thing you said. You're responsible for your own car. You got people above you to make sure you're responsible for your own car. I go get in a car that the shift before me had, and they transported somebody to jail, and they flew up in the back of the car, and then they come back, and I gotta clean the car before I drive the car.
Well, we would have it so they wouldn't actually use that car, they would use the other one. I mean, I know what you're saying, so.
I mean,
They wouldn't actually hop out and somebody hop in, they'd get the other one, so it'd be 2 of them.
responsible for your own car. I've gotten behind people and transported people. You find drugs in the backseat, you find knives in the backseat. It's my car, they're in the car with me, I check it. I just feel better having my own car, my own equipment in it, and I don't have to rely on somebody else's equipment.
But leasing could save us on insurance costs and, maintenance costs, everything.
I'm not sure, like I said, we're looking into this, I'm not really sure how a lease program works on a vehicle like this.
Okay.
Regardless of whether we lease or buy, I think that for our police department and the size and the way it works, pool vehicles is absolutely the way to go. That's right. I used them, you had to clean your car out before the next guy got in, and that was your job.
Yeah, we had a motor pool, everything we needed, we got out, and we got clean.
Yeah, I mean, that's a management.
Yeah, it is.
You take care of the car or else.
Absolutely.
So, anyway, that's all I had, unless somebody has any questions.
Any questions for the town manager? No questions for the town manager? We will go to the town attorney's report. The town attorney is at the beach.
Everybody's at the beach, I suppose.
Mayor's report. Most everything in the mayor's report is informational. I would point out the National Night Out for the police department is on August 6th from 4 to 8 p.m. at Southside Electric Cooperative at Hooper Park. If you want to volunteer, set up a tent, or donate to the event, you can contact the police department directly or either by phone or email. Again, the rest of it is informational until we get to Jennings Park. We had a meeting the other day with the 4-H folks on the demonstration garden, the community garden they wanted to set up originally, and they have decided to turn it into a demonstration garden, which will be used for educational purposes. But I was able to engage Ms. Abston, who runs the 4-H program, and I took her down here to Galoovic at the Jennings Park area land that we have participated. We literally did a walking tour of the park, and she was pointing out all sorts of trees and plants and things that even I don't know. Identified it would be great for educational purposes, and that she would, if it was available, she would use it for 4-H education and training. One of the things that she mentioned is that we might want to engage the county forester, have him come in and identify some trees. She says a lot of our trees are really old. The pine trees, they've capped out, and they're basically going to become a safety hazard. So we may want to harvest those and generate a little revenue out of that. What I was going to suggest, if you approve, of course, is that I engage the forester, have him go in there, and if we've got trees that we can harvest without destroying the general concept of a woodland park, that we go ahead and harvest those and use that money to pay any fees that we have, but to help finance development of that little plot of land over there. Any feedback? And by the way, that would be consistent with your comprehensive plan goals of creating green spaces and so forth.
Is the 4-H gonna maintain it?
I would hope they would. Now, I don't know. We've still got to clean it. I mean, it's still got to be cleaned. Now, if we can get somebody to come in and do some selective harvesting, they would probably push a bulldozer around and clear out some of the stumps and things to where we can actually pretty it up. One of our big challenges was that we can't get the street department guys over there because it was raining so bad that it was too wet to do anything. And if we had a way to finance it, of course, through the harvesting of the trees, you've got a partnership with a guy a logger that will come in, he gets his cut, of course, of the tree, and we get some leftover cash. Any feedback, recommendations? Just do it.
You gonna see what we're gonna get
Yeah.
first?
I'd be surprised if
Yeah.
they got anything, but.
Yeah.
See if it's gonna be worth it or not.
I don't know. Well, I mean, the trees might have to come down anyway from the safety perspective. I mean, not right now, this minute, but we're looking, she says, hey, they're way capped out, they're so tall, they're almost to the point, frankly, I didn't see it as
I
a
think
safety.
it makes sense. Hopefully we can give a little something out of it.
All
I'd be
right.
surprised.
Well, with your permission, then, I will go ahead and engage the forester and get some additional data, and then come to council before we obviously take any actions. Okay? All right, great. What else? Now, the library. Since we cut off the internet, the officers are telling me, and I've talked to several of them, but they're telling me that they're not having a problem here. I know I don't do Facebook, so, I mean, but I know
No,
the calls aren't coming in. So let's put
I
it
get
that
you.
way. If something's happening, people aren't calling. When I've been out here patrolling on my own, looking, I mean, I take a flashlight, I come out at various times, and I ride around this area in some other areas, and I, shine the flashlight, people think I'm the law. I mean, I'm not, but I'm doing my own checkups. But the officers are telling me they're not seeing the activity. Now, I did talk to Norma, and she says that it has cut out for the most part. She said you will see people, adults sometimes pull up in this parking lot, and then when they realize they're not getting the internet, they drive off.
It's Saturday night, Sunday night, there was about 5 out front. But I know the biggest issue is in the parking lot.
You got 2 guys that parked because they visited across the street.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
but,
chief and I talked about that. Go ahead.
After the last town council meeting, of course, Susan had me outside for like an hour.
Mhm.
And there was a truck there, and they started yelling over at the house, where's my MFing phone?
Oh, really?
Where's my, being very loud and very out of sorts. And we were here for about an hour.
Did
and
you or
I was
Susan
on
call
the
the
truck.
police?
No,
Okay.
no. I was gonna go say something, but I said, no, I'm not gonna get
That's not your
confrontational.
job. All you gotta do is call the
Yeah.
police.
Well, I was waiting to see if one would grab back, because it was
Right.
the day after the incident, and we never saw one go back.
Okay, I know the landlord that owns that house. I can speak to him if you wish.
Yeah, that would be good.
All right,
Well, and turning off the internet has helped with them hanging out at the library. I'm saying it still hasn't helped with them going up and knocking on people's front porches and that has nothing to, one doesn't affect the other, I don't think.
It doesn't eliminate all of
Yeah,
it.
it doesn't eliminate all of it.
Yeah, because they're still hanging out. I mean, like I
Now, where did you
said,
see him hanging out?
right around the front door,
Yeah.
there's about 5 people.
After hours?
After
the
hours.
internet's
It was
cut off?
after 10 o'clock.
Was the internet
From
cut
5 o'clock until 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it was after 10 o'clock when I saw them.
Was this after or before they cut off the internet?
Well, 10 o'clock at night, they're not open till 10 here. Oh, this was after. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay.
I thought you were talking about time, not date.
No.
But,
Okay,
yes, it's been after.
all right. All right, good to know.
Hey, just a quick, related quick question. I know you don't use social media, but a lot of people in town do. When the police officers see something on social media, do they go and visit the residents and ask them?
Not that
what
I'm
the
aware
situation-
of.
Maybe
When
proactive.
I hear about something, I tell the town manager or the chief, and I say, you send an officer over there to talk to them, get a complaint. The bottom line is that people are responsible ultimately for their own their own safety. And if they do not make a call to the police, that's on them. I mean, there's nothing we can do that we don't know about. I mean, Billy's a police officer. He can't be everywhere. People will not tell you things sometimes, and you hear about it from another source, correct?
Yes, and if it's bad enough, I usually go to take care of the problem.
Right. See, and that's what they should do. But what we've got is not enough people calling. I mean, that to me is the ultimate responsibility is the person. If you see it, say something. We
Did
do
you
a
say
thing,
Online.
every soldier's, well,
Yeah, I don't think Facebook counts. Pick a
Yeah.
phone.
But it's 2019, it does count.
well, it
Doesn't
doesn't,
go to the sheriff's
No.
office, we
No.
have your dispatchers.
yeah. I mean, it doesn't, unless you're connected, and that's maybe something that we can look into, is getting a Facebook connectivity for the dispatcher's office to where people can make a report. I have no problems with that. But Facebook is Facebook, and if you're not on somebody's Facebook, it doesn't really matter.
And that's, people can say anything on Facebook. You can't just go,
Yeah.
if it's,
Well,
that's not.
unfortunately, I can dial
You make a false
911
statement to a
10
police
minutes
officer,
later.
there's a,
10 minutes later, not a few minutes later.
Yeah.
I don't.
10 minutes later, the
Think
police show
Facebook
up and the
should be-
guys that knocked on my door are
Yeah,
gone.
yeah.
So that does absolutely nothing
Yeah,
for
but
me to do except establish the time.
But you document it.
on record.
You have it on
Yeah.
record.
And it makes the resident feel better because it looks like the town cares.
But it takes less time to pick up the phone and call the police than it does to type a rant about it on Facebook.
It does.
I understand.
So,
Again,
it's
you
their
have
own
to,
fault,
Mhm.
in my opinion.
And
It's just
it's
my-
the other piece, and that's the inflationary comments that are on Facebook. A lot of it's just people griping. That's all they want to do is gripe.
Well,
They don't write letters to the editor, they don't call the mayor, they don't call the town manager, they don't call members
Well,
of
before
council.
social media, they did write letters to them.
Well, they did, they
Well-
did.
Because that's the way we used to find out about a lot of problems in the town of Crewe.
well,
I mean,
and,
not just from when Mr. Gunner's been about, but
Mhm.
everywhere, you know.
Yeah.
well, in this day and time, all right, I can tell you, and the person that we're referring to does like to complain about literally everything.
Mhm.
Okay, so I know that, but.
I'm not referring to anybody in particular.
I know,
Yeah.
but, and the police have been called and they know about the issue, but things tend to, and in the world of social media, and I know this firsthand, I placed an ad saying help wanted and I was frustrated, no crackheads need apply.
Mhm.
Next thing you know, John Burkett is sharing it saying, is this discrimination or brutally honest?
Mhm.
And I'm like, holy moly, you know, and on this feed,
Mhm.
Call Channel 12 is on it, and then we've got like 20 people just bashing, well, the people in Crewe, the people that run the town of Crewe don't do anything,
Mhm.
you know, about these issues, and, you know, I'll step up every once in a while and say, look, you know, we're doing the best we can here, and then it's like, we just have to be seen as we're doing something, is all I'm getting across. We need to, like, it's been many a night, after 12 o'clock, I'm coming home from somewhere,
Mhm.
young kids walking down the street.
Did
You
you call
know-
the police?
No, I did not, but it's curfew law,
Mhm. 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock. And, you know, after 11 o'clock, are we saying something to these kids? Are we
What's the age for the curfew?
18?
Does it apply if you're driving?
I have
Yes.
no-
Okay, so how many people in this room in their lifetime, that curfew law has been around since I was in
Oh,
high school,
I broke it.
have
Yeah.
been out driving
I
after
got
they're
called
18.
for it.
But I'm talking, walking the alleys, walking the
Yeah.
streets, generally it's up to no good.
Most of the
I
time.
understand, but if you see something, say
And most of the
something.
time, I was up to no good when I was doing it, because it's just, I didn't damage anybody's property or scare
Which
them.
reminds me,
It's a tool that we use, and it's a good tool.
Yeah.
It gives you probable cause to stop the people.
There's also,
No, I agree, I'm not.
See who they are.
mhm,
there's also a lot of common sense involved too.
mhm.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I've been stopped when I was a kid plenty of times, riding a bike or something later than I should have been, all they told me to get my butt home, but I knew they were watching.
Okay, one last thing, there has been an arrest made, with the trespassing over here. There was a van from New York that was continuously coming, well, apparently,
Which we got a call on.
we got a call on, I mean, so we got a call,
Mhm.
so our guys responded, and, after, initially, there wasn't anything they could do, because there was no probable cause. Had a follow-up incident, it led to an arrest of a gentleman from New York, who is, out on a parole violation for robbery in the state of New York. He has been, in the process of being extradited at this time. So, our guys respond. But
Got it.
people have got to call, they're
Yeah.
responsible for their own safety. And if you don't call the police,
Yeah.
if you don't dial 911, it doesn't count.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Exactly.
Well,
They
Yeah.
have to call.
Oh, I agree.
Okay.
well, and just one last thing on that, in terms of public relations, is there any way that the chief can draft up a press release that we put on social media?
I have drafted it up, I actually sent it to Mr. Gunn, he's got a
Perfect.
copy. so.
Thank you.
All right, we had a councilman query on position descriptions and expectations for council appointed officers, and I am working on that, that's a work in progress, and that's informational. All right, committee reports, finance committee, Ms. Stinson,
Well, I guess we better get working on this budget.
okay. Personnel committee, Mr. Reed, community development, Ms. Bowen.
Okay, I just got a little thing I want to touch on. I had a long discussion with Mr. Larry Williamson, you know, and he basically told me that we as a town need to enforce our own ordinances before we try to add another one, okay? Well, I was approached and taken by a house, and I passed out some pictures here, it's on Tucker Avenue. The grass is almost higher than the house. And I'm just wondering, is there something that we could put in place? Because we've got garbage trucks, we've got water meter readers, we've got police, we've got, several town employees that go down these streets every day. And one of the things that we get beat up the most on social media and word of mouth is the conditions, the grass,
Yeah.
the conditions of the rental properties, and the abandoned vehicles. Okay, this, to me, is out of hand. I mean, something should have been done about that long time ago, and for it to get up that high. And the person that actually pointed that out to me is renovating a house on Nelson Street, and has like $90,000 in it, and that's bringing property value down.
That's a short street up here, right?
Yeah, the short street.
Mhm.
So, I mean, in my mind, I don't know what we need to do or who we need to put responsible. I mean, like I said, I'll be glad before, if y'all want me to go around and take photos and put addresses on them. But can we like do, you know, notes on the water bill or stuff like that?
I don't think there's a water bill going on.
I noticed. But, you know, and I know Wade, I talked to him about this earlier today, and he said one of the properties has already been cut, and then they're gonna get this one. But, you know, to me, can we put in the hands of like, you know, the garbage truck guys and the water meter readers are that, every street in this country, every day. And I mean, I know they do a good job, but can we, and I understand some people let their grass get high, but at least you can tell if somebody's trying, you know what I mean? This is something, and as far as economic development, we're not gonna have any economic development if we don't get the properties cleaned up around here. And, this is, my thing is, I'm thinking of what we can do or what kind of procedure we can put in place. And I know there's been strides made in the car issue, and I've seen, you know, that, and they're gonna be picked up, taken away. But we have to do something about stuff like this, because these are the things that we're getting beat up about.
We
As a
agree,
town.
there's a lengthy legal process. I know when we cut the grass, they charge them
Oh,
for
yeah.
gas, oil, for employer payroll tax, hourly wage, and all the other matching stuff that goes in there. So they get like a $500 bill, and that has terminated a lot of the problems that we had before. I don't know the background on this one. Are those people local or out-of-area landlords? And that's, again, a problem, because out-of-area landlords don't care. In some cases,
They're not really landlords, they're property
well,
owners.
property owners, good point, absolutely right, absolutely right. Out-of-area property owners.
Who are current with their real estate taxes,
Okay. Where do they live?
out of town.
And you've been in touch with them?
We have
Okay,
talked about it,
okay,
but it doesn't matter, it's getting cut tomorrow.
okay. And once they see that bill,
Yeah,
because people were using the town of Crooks as a grass cutting service because it was so cheap, and we addressed that 2 years ago or so.
You know, I'm not trying to defend myself or us, but y'all gotta remember what I told you before, hundreds of grass loads go out. There's not a single property out there that we haven't looked at. There's nothing out there that we don't know about. You have to approach these things as you can, when you can, because we've got other things that we have to do. Most of them are not very successful. We end up having to cut them, just like we cut the one today, like we're gonna cut this one tomorrow. Notice was put on the door, well, it's a technicality. Nobody's in the house. We knew darn well nobody was gonna get the notice, but that was beside the point. We had to notify the property, and we did. And the time is up now, and we're gonna cut it. That's all I know to do with
Yeah.
the resources that we have, and we take them. I'm gonna also say this, there are areas in this town, I go back to what I said earlier about common sense. There are areas in this town that are outside on the edges of town that you look at and you say, all right, technically, this needs to be cut. But realistically, it's not a problem. It's not bothering anybody, except for the person that feels like they know all the ordinances and say, why don't you make them do this? Why don't you make them do that? Well, because you use some common sense. And I'm just gonna tell you, that's part of being in a small town. You know, this is a problem, but that backs up to an area there's a field like this. There's
There's a
nothing
field
there.
beside it too, isn't it?
I mean, it just is what it is, and yes, it does need to be cut, and I can't argue that these properties don't need to be. But you can't deal with every single one of them, we'd be doing it all day.
I get it, and then, now, I talked to, the FPO from Fort Pickett. They use the prison people,
Can't go on private property.
but he says there are different crews that you can use, and they can do some of the public work while our guys are going on private property maybe.
That's true too, but when you don't get them but once a month, you can't plan anything. You can't say, well, next Thursday, I'm gonna let the inmates come in and cut the cemetery, which is what we used to do when we knew we were gonna get them. We got them twice a week. We don't get them like that anymore. They might show up, they might not. So then they show up sometimes and it's 9:30, 10 o'clock, and by the way, they gotta leave at 12. They don't do us any good.
Gotcha.
Is it
So-
worth sitting down with the warden?
Yeah, and we've done that. But again, yes, it is. And we plan on doing that, because they can't, we were told can't go on private property. The other thing, if one of them goes to the bathroom and you're out in the alley, they all gotta go. You pack them up, you all go to the shop, and they all go to the bathroom. These are their rules, and if it's too hot, they don't work. If it's raining, they can't work. You know, so yeah, they don't cost us anything, and they're good when we have them, but they really don't do us that much good.
I was just looking at them as an extra source because I know Pickett uses them, and they say if they have a bad one that tears up equipment,
Which is
they'll
another
say,
problem,
don't send that one back, send so-and-so back.
which happens all the time,
And,
because they push the lawnmower in the cemetery and they hit a stone and the lawnmower tears up. Guess what happens? They all go home. And that happens, and they do it on purpose, I'm sorry, they do, because they know
they
it's
get to
hot,
go.
they don't want to do it anymore, so boom. And I'm just telling you how it works. This is just a
Gotcha.
fact. All I'm saying is that we're aware of every single one of these out here, and we're approaching them as we can. We're going, Tiffany knows that. Some of them are paying, some of them aren't. We actually cutting people off if they have water service, and we cut them. I've done that one time, and it paid off, I mean, it worked. But it was risky, to be honest with you, but you're not gonna have your water cut back on until you pay this bill where we cut your grass, and they paid it.
Yeah.
And I hope, because it was so expensive, that we won't have to go back and cut it again.
When they don't pay, it goes on as a tax lien?
No.
Okay, can we change that so that we can, so after 2 years of non-payment, we can,
That I don't know.
for example,
Water's quicker.
if they're there, there's no
They're
water.
there, well, that's true, they're there, yeah. I have requested from the town attorney a checklist that I can follow, that I can go down to the courthouse in my free time and do it, and that way we don't have to depend on her all the time. I have not received that checklist yet, I have requested it some time ago, but the idea is that anything that I can walk through the court system, I will be glad to do.
Yeah.
I'm ready, willing, and able. We just need to know what questions to ask sometimes. I'm not an attorney, but a lot of this does not require an attorney to do. If you're the representative, you can just do it.
Yeah, and by no means was I implying that any of the town workers weren't doing their job. I'm just like, we
No,
just
I-
are getting beat up
Yeah.
over this type of stuff.
You're an elected official, you'll always be beat up, don't
But I
worry.
think,
Yeah.
I think the common sense part is prioritizing.
Yeah.
It's like you said, that's off the beaten path, so we're getting it tomorrow, but if it was on Main Street, it had already been done.
Yeah,
You know what I'm getting at.
oh,
So-
I
so it
see
pri-
what you,
So it prioritizes, goes right along with the common sense.
Okay,
But
continuing business. Fiscal year 20 budget vote, it's an action item to approve the FY 20 town approved budget. I need a motion to approve. Moved. I need a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed by like sign. that's a negative. Okay.
Negative.
All right.
So, do you want to discuss?
I already said my piece on
Okay.
All right. Okay, the next item, action item is a resolution. I have signed all the paperwork with Luck Stone. They require a resolution approved by council. Following the passage of all that, the resolution reads as follows. You got all this in your emails, obviously. It comes now the town council for the town of Crewe and states as follows. Wherefore, the town of Crewe, Virginia, the town is duly noticed public hearing on April 16, 2018 pursuant to Code Section 15.2-1800. And whereas the town duly voted to sell certain real estate described as Exhibit A to Luck Stone Corporation, and whereas the town did sell such land to Luck Stone Corporation, and whereas the mayor executed those documents on behalf of the town, now therefore this council has duly approved and ratified the Mayor Greg Eanes' signature on all documents that conveyed the property described in Exhibit A from the town of Crewe to Luck Stone Corporation. I have Exhibit A. I know it was sent to you in your email, but if anyone wants to read it, I have a copy. I need a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
I need a second. Mr. Abel? All right. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by like sign. A little late now. All opposed by like sign. All right, motion carries unanimous.
So is this the last step?
I
So they
think
can
it
start
is.
making rock.
I think it is. I had a question though. I saw that there was a report in the land transfers of a fee of $600,000, and I had to go back and double check that. And I have the official response, but what it was is that they have to use a net value calculator to assess the recording fee, is what it amounted to. So what they did, they used the recording taxes. They used the annual payments of $50,000 and the minimum royalty of $3.2 million in that calculator, and that's how they came up with the $600,000 figure. So our maximum is $3,250,000. Of the life of the pit, of course, with the residue or the residuals will get much more than that. Okay, new business, I think we just covered that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's done.
Well, there, I've got some continuing
Still
business
learning.
before we move on to continuing business.
All right.
First up is, forget what I'm doing here.
Uh-oh.
Just may not be plugged in.
Oh, thank you. Yep, so it's not.
Technology these days.
I know, right?
Yeah, you gotta have electricity, but who knows?
One day they'll have wireless electricity.
Sure.
The town will get it 20 years later.
I feel like I'm at the movie theater, the cheap seats.
Ain't no cheap seats no more.
Well, this looks a lot better than, oh, yeah, let me try to,
So we're gonna get a website tutorial.
yeah, I just wish it came, so, when you go on the, everything's distorted because it's plugged into the computer for whatever reason, but this is our new website. Up at the top, you can hardly read this on here, but it's looks much better on online. Let me see if I can zoom in here. Ah, there we go. Okay, so we have the new website. This is the front page. Welcome aboard, our slogan. Scroll down. You have the Experience Crew for people who come to visit. Getting involved and staying informed are our three main categories, and then important information that we need to put on the front page for our rights and responsibilities and the consumer confidence report, followed by contact information and office hours.
Who answers that?
It should go to info@townofcrewe, so that would be
Okay.
Tiffany.
All right.
And then scrolling back up, just a tour via the website. We have this first one here is a quick info. where it just has contact in the town, public safety contacts, which are some of the most important things, information on council meetings, calendar we haven't quite got up yet, and signing up for Code Red. Frequently asked questions. I know when I first did the other website, I asked Tiffany what were some of the things that people most asked, and some interesting asked the town crew, when are utility bills due, things like that. So that's just quick information for someone who wants to find information.
Can I use
frequently.
Wi-Fi, not at the library
Experienced crew is, so we have about crew, brief history, the logo, the slogan, and then you scroll down here, things to do in crew. We have the Railroad Museum, the Crew Veterans Memorial Park, WSBS Historic Radio Museum, Sailors Creek Battlefield is nearby, so is High Bridge Trail State Park, and a little bit of the history of crew. Planning your visit, we have directions for people, and then emergency information. Someone who wants to visit can download some emergency information, public safety contacts, tow trucks, veterinarians, hospitals, doctors, dentists, things like that. All the things to plan for if you're injured during your visit here. Getting involved. We'll have a link to a calendar, a little bit about the HEAL initiative, schools, the library and cemetery with cemetery pricing, notable memorials, working, how to start a business and crew, individuals who are just looking for jobs, and then some of the assets are right up there. Which include our location, our workforce, our business community, the airport, and then links to the state's labor market information and our licenses and permits. Moving on, staying informed. And we emphasize how or the website emphasizes how we emphasize transparency in what we do. So we have links to the minutes and recordings, information on the departments, and contact information for each, and then bios for the mayor and members of council who have sent in their bios. If you have not sent in your bios,
I just emailed you mine.
perfect, thank you. And if you can send me a photo if you haven't done so already as well. And then information on Transparency Freedom of Information Act, meetings, our budget, which was just passed, will go up on here, ordinances, and information on how to vote. Finally, almost the penultimate link here are the various documents, important downloads, including the business license application, emergency information, stuff that we need to do. Our comprehensive and strategic plans are all online. Link to the historic minutes, the project that we've been working on with Virginia Tech.
Good.
That's being recordings and minutes. Finally, a link to a little bit of information on our HEAL Crew initiative. And that is our new website.
Question.
Yes.
If the Nottaway County Dispatcher's Office uses email, there's a certain email that they answer, could you put another link on there that would actually, instead of sending it, to Tiffany, it would send it to?
Yes, I can, so you mean a contact form?
Yeah, contact.
Yeah, absolutely.
That way, in other words, report a crime. If you see something, say something.
Right.
It gives them an opportunity to report it.
Perfect. Do we want to go to the sheriff's department, or do we want to go straight to the police chief?
No, it has to go to the dispatcher's office. That's central dispatching, it goes out to everybody.
Okay,
When they get it.
sure.
The question is, I don't know if they have that capability or if they monitor it, and that's what we have to follow up on. So let me follow up on that, that's fine.
Would that be in their system? They receive that when they load that in there?
I don't know.
And if anyone else has any questions, comments, concerns, things they want added, things they want taken off, things they want adjusted, just let me know. And that goes for everyone in the audience as well, and we'll be promoting this on our social media to solicit feedback as well. Any questions so far?
The link to the historic documents, is there some way to categorize that genealogies crew somewhere where if somebody was searching it, would take them to that?
What do you mean?
Well, you've got people that do genealogical work a lot over
Right.
there. Yeah, and that would be something I think they would be interested in.
Yes.
I don't know if we bring anybody in town, but they've got access to it.
Potential, it's actually Virginia Tech's
Okay.
website that it
Okay.
goes to.
All right, perfect.
Great job on that, Bill.
Mm.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thanks for the work on that.
Anything else?
In terms of continuing business, just a quick update on the cemetery project. We're proceeding with this cemetery project. We are going to, print out once everything's inputted onto the thing, print out a large map, so we have a large hard copy. In terms of the, online version, currently, we would be, in order to do this, we'll be using a system called ArcGIS, which is, or ArcGIS Pro, which is a pretty universally used GIS system. For the next 2 years or so, the town will be using, I'll call it the free version. Basically, I get through Virginia Tech a license if I want it, as long as I'm a student. After that, we may have to pay for it.
Okay.
So we'll look at that, but that's a few years down the road.
Okay.
And I'll have a proposal next month, but I'm looking at probably $300, I think is a fair amount for the individual who helped us out in a resolution and my friend and that.
Can you draft a resolution on it?
I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
And that's it on this cemetery project. That's it for continuing business.
Outstanding. Outstanding. All right, new business.
I think you have some.
I think, no, that we took care
Yep,
of.
okay. Well, then I do have new business unless anyone else is. Okay.
Go ahead.
Council member Bowen and I met, and I think we formed a subcommittee of community development for economic development. So we'll be reaching out to individuals to, one of the big things is our economic development strategic plan was last made in 2012.
Okay.
That should probably be updated
Yeah.
and solicit some information, so I'll be reaching out to an individual about that. Next up on new business, we have from a long time ago, 5 very large 500-page spiral-bound notebooks with all of the cemetery information that was all compiled by Work Corey, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
It would be good if we can find either a volunteer or pay someone a nominal fee to transcribe those onto some Excel document so that we can preserve that and maybe incorporate it into the cemetery project. Would council like to?
I'm thinking we could contact Ray Yates. He's been doing a lot of work in the cemetery, and he might be willing to do it.
Can.
On an Excel spreadsheet?
Exactly.
Yeah, well, that's what he's doing.
Oh, he's doing?
Yeah,
he
yeah, he's got it in an Excel spreadsheet.
Oh.
He's got a lot of stuff. In fact, I've got a list of all of that.
I can set it up,
Okay.
and
Excel is not.
all he's gotta do is input the information.
Well, I didn't
Okay.
know, I guess that was a stereotype.
All right, town clerk's got it, we're good.
That's my question too, don't worry.
Okay.
I didn't know that he would be up to date.
Perfect, okay, great, thank you. A couple of years ago, we applied for the Transportation Alternative Program grant, the TAP grant. There's another round of that, and if you'll recall, it's only every 2 years, I believe, that we can apply for that. The deadline for the pre-application, which is a requirement for the so the application itself is due in October. The pre-application is due July 1st. As one of the first things of the Economic Development Subcommittee, I'd like us to be able to look at that and potentially put in a pre-application.
Yes.
Basically
Same
asking
one,
for
same.
some of the same things.
Same thing, yeah.
So, any objections to that?
Well,
And I'll send it around before we submit, and if there's any major objections, we can schedule an emergency meeting.
I would say do a motion now, but if you'd rather wait, we can wait.
Well, it would have to be submitted by July 1, the pre-application.
Okay,
So,
all right,
I don't think it needs a motion to just,
do the pre-application, all right. Any questions, any comments, desire for a motion? Just, it's the
Yeah, I
pre-application.
don't think you need one for the pre-application.
Okay, the pre-application just says whether or not you can apply, that's all it does.
Yeah.
No obligation to money or anything else.
right.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, and that is it for new business.
All right, good.
I was wondering about, I guess this would fall under new business. I guess there used to be a town limit sign out by the country club, Green #1, down there where the road's all tore up and it's not there anymore. Can we mark that again somehow? Because I know people gripe about that road and I mean, it's torn up, but I don't think all of it is in town that's torn up so bad,
Oh,
right?
in the country club.
Yeah.
Where the pool
I
is.
think we need to just identify where the
Used to
town
be a,
stops. There was a sign, there's not anymore.
State state ends here,
Yeah,
It
I
used
don't
to
think
say
it's-
interstate maintenance.
Yeah,
and it's gone.
I think we need to get that marked, and then that way we can show, if there's a problem, we can show the state, it's inside your,
Yeah,
I don't think it'd be too hard to get a sign or something back up down there.
yeah, I can request they do that.
Okay. Town manager has that for action. Anybody else? All right, points of personal privilege, Mr. Reed,
No, none here.
Mr. Bowman,
Nope.
Mr.
So no.
Duffy,
No personal privilege here.
Ms. Stinson, Mr. Abel.
Want to fuss about my Dropbox again, I do not understand why the state coming. If you look at the outside of them, what does the inside look like, if that's what the outside looks like? Eventually, these things are gonna stop up.
We have contacted VDOT multiple times, and we can bring it up again. I mean,
I
it's,
think you worry them enough, maybe they'll get off the hind parts and come up here and do what you need to do.
I would hope so. Mr. Miskovic,
Be sure to vote tomorrow if you're so inclined to vote in a Republican primary.
I am inclined to vote.
I'll be sure to do that.
I voted no.
Fine, but pass.
You're the other side.
I got one question, if it isn't too late.
Yes.
Is there any status on VDOT with, that road in front of
Yes,
reference?
yes, actually, it's funny you should ask. I got an email today from Diana Bryant.
Awesome.
They're in the process of contacting the, but, yeah, they're in the process of contacting the owner, the property owners, and they're having a hard time because the property owners are not calling them back or returning their calls. And,
Supposed to go door to door today,
okay,
personally trying to get.
I told her if she needed my assistance, give me a call.
Okay. So the property owner actually has to.
There are
enforce-
several property owners, yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
because there's like four, wait. Okay, now we return to the public comment portion, and any public comments, any comments? Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to thank the homecoming committee, from them to the town and the workers for all the help they gave us for homecoming.
Yes, ma'am.
And we need some help, some young help, because we're all about to give out. So if you would like to volunteer, like to volunteer anything, you can call us over to the railroad park. And I would like to see one handicap parking place across from town hall. We do not have one on that side of the street, and it's needed bad.
Okay, the town manager's just told me that's a VDOT requirement. He will contact VDOT and we'll see what we can do.
Okay?
Middle of town, Sue, or?
In front of Style
Right in front of town hall, on the opposite street for Style Out.
Okay.
Because most of those women, including myself, are older,
Yes, ma'am.
and it's awful hard for them.
Yes, ma'am.
I hope people pay more attention to that side than they do the ones we.
Yeah, I saw a
yeah.
little bit of that the other day myself. And I back Wendy up on these junk cars and these junk yards.
Yes, ma'am. We, the town manager actually has got a stack of paperwork like this from letters that went out and citations and whatnot.
Is it right before homecoming in May that you had all of that truck come around and pick up trash like that people seem to be keeping in their yards?
Yes, ma'am.
Would it be possible to do a little bit as we go along, but do it a little bit earlier than the week of homecoming? Because people are they just shake their heads anymore. They can't believe that the town has gotten like it has.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, and it was in the minutes and all about the junk cars. Those letters are going out, and
They've already gone out.
that's already gone
Yeah.
out. But you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be, what, 15 days after they get the letter, we're gonna take the car.
And we have also requested a checklist from the town attorney for those kinds of actions that I can do. We shouldn't have to wait as long as we have to wait to get this legal process jump started.
I mean, the
Well,
nice
start-
places in the neighborhood, you put one junky place there, and you defeat the purpose. It's just,
We've been dealing with this one house over here for 20 years probably, I guess, at least 3 that I've been here. It's
and it's a shame that the people on the highway don't keep their property up.
yes, ma'am. Okay, any other public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Just a couple of comments. First of all, I support Mr. Miska's suggestion that we start monitoring social media. I don't know whether it's possible to hire a high school student or somebody to be there to just kind of check periodically what's being said. I happened to stumble on a blog that I wanted to try to pull it up, but of course there's no Wi-Fi, that someone wrote the worst cities in Virginia and listed the top 10. Fortunately, Crew was not on that list.
We're not
But people do read these things and buy into them, and if it's nothing more than someone who can respond and say, we're sorry you had this experience, this information will be passed on to the chief of police or the fire department or the city administrator, and we encourage you, to be a good citizen and report, or something to that effect. That way it'll kibosh a lot of, people whining that the city is not doing anything. or the
People
town is
have a
not
right
doing
to
anything.
whine. I mean, they've got a right to
I
complain.
know, but when
But
other
the fact
people are
is,
reading,
We have
reading that-
official channels, and if they don't call 911, or they don't notify the town, I mean, we're not gonna monitor social media all the time.
This is
We can't-
typical, this is a public relations issue.
Yeah,
It's
I'm-
not, it's probably not gonna change anything,
Mhm.
but from the standpoint of people who are looking at Crew as a place that they wanna move or live, it's important. So I'm just saying.
I
Think about a high school
My
student.
My daughter is a digital marketer for a group in Virginia Beach, and I catch it all the time.
Don't we monitor our Town of Crew Facebook page? Doesn't somebody at this town hall, or either
Police,
you
family,
monitor that, Tiffany?
Facebook.
Well, we monitor our own page. I
Mhm.
mean, I don't necessarily think we could go monitor anybody else's page.
Or, no, I'm not saying. I'm
No, I
not
think
saying
that's
you
what ours-
should.
I think that's what she's saying, monitor our own.
Monitor our own,
We
and
do.
Well-
maybe just not
Well,
Facebook.
make sure-
We don't know
yeah.
what people are saying on Twitter
Yeah.
or Snapchat or any of the others, but that's just a suggestion. The other comment that I wanted to make is that I've attended several of these meetings now where there seems to be an issue with getting grass cut. Obviously, you're building an owner. If the owner is an absentee owner that doesn't live in the state, there's a long process to slap a lien on the property. But obviously, if they're not taking care of the property, the lien is probably not gonna do anything to force them into action. Has the town ever considered using the collection agency to recoup your money?
No.
Okay.
The lien puts us in a position seize it at some point, that's all. I mean, we can take it from them, and so, it's just a very long process. Once we get it, the idea is that you put it up for public auction, and hopefully somebody that will buy it will put it back on the tax rolls. That's the idea. We have a house on the main street called the Beeler House. It cost $24,000 after everything was said and done, and you guys were here when that was gone. I mean, what, 3 or 4 years before they could even.
Longer than that.
Yeah, longer than that. So, I mean, it took a long time to be able to seize it. And then once we seized it, the town was able to tear it down. And now we've got a lot that's assessed at $12,000 that we'll have to put up for public auction at some point.
But you don't want to end up with a town with a lot of empty lots. So
Yeah.
I'm just saying, think about what alternatives we can use, especially if the person is out of state. And the likelihood of them really doing anything with that property, you know, is probably next to nil.
Sure.
Well, I believe, I do know for a fact that when I was discussing properties with Larry Williamson, he informed me that he's not the president, because I mentioned the garment factory, the grass, and the old parking lot. And he admitted to me that they have somebody hired to do it twice a year.
That's right.
So the only reason that they did work on it and got it cut, I believe, is because of my hour-plus combo with him outside of the post office, because the next day they were out there cutting it. But it is up to your waist in a lot of areas, and, you know, and they, but, you know, it got done, and it'll look okay for, I guess, 6 months, and then they'll cut it again. But I mean, it's a problem, and we have, how many town employees do we have?
12.
12. We have 12 town employees, and I understand that we got a,
Street department.
the street,
Yeah.
yeah, the street department has the cemetery to cut. How many days does it take them to cut that?
About 2.
About 2 days to cut that, plus all the other town property to cut. It's almost worth subcontracting. Have we ever thought about that?
We talked about it.
We talked about that, but I think what you'd end up doing is paying the subcontractor, and then we still have the same problem.
Well, the collection agency idea is,
What percentage do they charge, do you know?
I'm not sure that, I mean, we can always
You
charge.
can always negotiate with them or find an agency that has a good, because some other communities have used it to collect parking tickets from out-of-state drivers, and I know that for a fact.
Virginia
So
Tech
I was
uses it
just
to collect parking tickets.
Really?
Unpaid parking.
Personal
Not that I would know that.
Personal experience?
It's certainly something.
Two questions. One, same one I brought up about the garment factory. They're cutting it, but they're just leaving it lying. So they are doing just enough to please us, because nobody is being held actually responsible for seeing that the work is done, and nobody is signing off on it. So they just do it twice a year. The other thing is, I was fortunate enough to be in Maryland during the time that President Bush was the president, and I heard us talking about the kids and getting them off the street. But it was bad. It was bad up there too, in the Landover area. And someone stepped forth and started an all-night basketball league. And it was so successful that the president came and spoke with him and congratulated him. So my thing is, why can't we figure out some alternative for the kids? Because the summer is coming. And you run them over one block, they're gonna be on the next block.
Former Mayor Whip Wilson is a school employee, and he takes care of the Olympic Stadium, and it's actually in his plan to set up a batting cage if he can arrange it. He's still got to talk to the school officials that he works with, but the idea is to use this almost semi-abandoned building over here as a batting cage to kind of keep kids off the street and allow them
And
to
that's a
engage
fight,
in
so
sports.
any support he can get,
Yeah.
it's a lot more to it, because I told him I'd be glad to help him with anything inside, setting the stuff up, I can get kids there clean. And it's just a matter of getting the, probably what we're gonna have to do now is wait for the new school and superintendent.
But that's in the works. 4-H is, we have a very active 4-H. They do programs here
Okay.
during the week and during the day. Of course, we've got our youth baseball league. It's also a youth soccer. And what else have we got?
Football.
Yeah, football. We got young people's football. We had a basketball court that got torn down many years ago, and then we had another one out here. But again, it created a problem because you start getting narcotics involved, and and
It's
then
a matter of supervision, you
Yeah.
gotta, as he's
Well,
saying, you've got to
well,
have
well,
somebody
well,
that's.
I understand what you're saying, but if we aren't smarter than the young people, and all they have to do is sit around and scheme all day long and the internet, all right, like the story goes, they're gonna win every time, because you're gonna, I don't care how many cameras you put up, you may wanna set up something to engage with them, just like you're doing now. Engage, offer them to come out, offer to feed them something, there's some money in some budget somewhere. Set some money aside and call them in, feed them, yeah, it's gonna be trash, yeah, it's gonna be trash, but it's trash now anyway.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
And I don't wanna sound like I'm passing the buck, cause
Okay.
I'm not, I got a point where I'm going.
Okay.
Have you been to the school board to talk to them?
No, I haven't.
And the reason I say that is,
Cliff Pettis.
Cleve Pettis, one of the school board members, wanted to have open gyms
Okay,
on the weekends
right,
at,
Group
we got at Crew Primer, Burkeville Elementary, which is not even being used.
right.
And even Blackstone, I think, was,
Mhm.
all of them, because we got gyms
Right.
that aren't being used.
Mhm.
And I don't know if Cleve just didn't have, Cleve.
Not the support.
Well, I don't know if he didn't have the support. I grew up with Cleve, and he's like my brother, he's a little short-tempered.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yo, is he your brother? He's your brother. He's your brother. Louise, I love. And I love Tex. Oh, I love Cleve. We had a first,
Yeah,
first job together.
that's what I was.
But I told him, it's like myself, I volunteered. I sent him a message. I said, I'll volunteer to watch, take a Saturday watching the kids. And, well, Cleve probably knows he has your support then. Maybe the school board needs to know, the other school board members need to know.
they own the assets anyway. They've got the resources we don't have.
Yeah.
I think the question for the school board at the time that the proposal was made was the liability use of the building. But we have enough outdoor type things, and obviously if we can find a place to hold something indoor.
Because you
But that
remember,
was
we used
their
to,
primary
well,
concern.
Cleve and Glenn and Kim, we all played down there at the courts. Now,
Yeah.
they'll blame the kids down there for being unsupervised. They'll blame the kids for the language.
Mhm.
But the language that was coming out of the open windows of the houses around that,
Right.
I can guarantee you was worse than any other language, because we self-policed. Now, I know that was 30 years ago, and I know kids have changed. But we self-policed, and every now and then a crew police officer would come down there, check on us, and that was it. I mean, so we need to explore the options that we have,
Okay,
so.
thank you. If there are no further public comment, we need to go into an executive session. I need a motion to adjourn into executive session consistent with Virginia State Code 2.2-3711A, subsection 1, personnel, and subsection 3, real property.
So moved.
Mr. Vick and Mr. Abel. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed by like sign. All right, we're going to executive session. All right, at this time, I need to certify that we discussed nothing in executive session that we didn't already go in for. One personnel and the other one is property. Mr. Reed,
Certified.
Ms. Bowen,
Certified.
Ms. Duffy,
Certified.
Ms. Stinson,
Certified.
Mr. Abel.
Certified.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Vick says yes. All right, yes. With that in mind, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.